We're counting down the 15 car brands now facing the harshest fallout after years of runaway prices and broken promises. From iconic names making desperate rebrands to luxury badges losing dealers and customers at record speed, this ranking exposes the companies where $70,000 vehicles now sit unsold and resale values plunge overnight. Which automaker's strategy misfired hardest, and who's risking it all for survival? Let's begin with number 15. Jaguar, once a symbol of British automotive prestige, finds itself in uncharted territory. After more than a century building sports sedans and grand tourers, the company halted production of every current model at the end of 2024. This was not a pause for retooling. It was a total stop, leaving showrooms empty and dealers with little to offer. Global sales collapsed by 70% in just 1 year, dropping to around 66,000 vehicles, a shadow of the 180,000 vehicles at its peak. The average transaction price hovered near $68,000, yet reliability ranked near the bottom of the industry. In November 2024, Jaguar unveiled a new abstract logo meant to signal a bold future. Instead, it sparked viral ridicule with over 1 million negative mentions in 2 days, and the hashtag Jaguar logo fail trended worldwide. The entire brand now rests on a risky bet, a full relaunch as an electric-only luxury maker in 2027, with no backup plan if customers do not return. For Jaguar, heritage has been put on hold, and survival is anything but guaranteed. Infinity's story is one of fading presence and lost identity. In 2018, the brand moved 150,000 vehicles in the US, but by 2023, sales had collapsed to just 46,836. The fallout wasn't limited to customers. Over a quarter of Infinity's US dealerships walked away from 2019 to 2024, leaving huge gaps in coverage and service. For buyers under 40, the name carries almost no recognition. The problem runs deeper than marketing. Infinity's lineup relies on rebadged Nissan models, often charging $55,000 or more for vehicles that differ little from their mainstream siblings. This lack of true luxury differentiation has gutted resale values. 3 years after purchase, an Infinity typically loses 60 to 65% of its value, a drop worse than many non-luxury brands. As dealer lots shrink and used prices nosedive, Infinity's attempt to charge premium prices for familiar hardware has left both buyers and retailers searching for a reason to care. Lincoln's entire business now revolves around just 3 SUVs, with nearly 90% of its sales coming from the Navigator, Aviator, and Corsair. The Navigator, once a flagship, carries a sticker price north of $110,000, almost double that of its mechanical twin, the Ford Expedition, which sells for around $60,000. This pricing gap is hard to defend, especially when both vehicles share the same basic platform and much of their engineering. Despite these luxury prices, Lincoln controls less than 1% of the US premium market, trailing far behind German and Japanese rivals. The brand's heavy reliance on rental fleets and corporate sales has also hammered resale values, making Lincoln ownership a losing bet for many buyers. Customer satisfaction scores lag behind mainstream brands, even as Lincoln tries to charge at the level of established luxury leaders. With its fate tied to a narrow product mix and questionable value, Lincoln's position in the luxury market remains precarious. Acura's approach to luxury has always leaned on familiar territory. The MDX, their best-selling SUV, rides on the same platform as the Honda Pilot, sharing the engine, transmission, and much of the chassis. Yet the price jumps by $15,000 or more for what is essentially upgraded trim, extra technology, and a badge. This formula has kept costs down for Acura, but left buyers questioning the value. While rivals chased bold designs and new technology, Acura stuck with conservative styling and incremental updates. The result is that annual United States sales have hovered around 100,000 units, barely moving even as the overall luxury market expanded by 40% in recent years. Dealers often focus their efforts on mainstream Hondas, where the margins are better and the cars move faster. For shoppers, the gap between what is promised and what is actually delivered feels wider every year. Acura's strategy of modest upgrades at premium prices has stalled its momentum, leaving the brand in a holding pattern as competitors race ahead. Cadillac sits at a crossroads few luxury brands can afford to ignore. The typical Cadillac buyer is now well past 60, making the brand's future feel uncertain in a market obsessed with youth and innovation. The Escalade, once a status symbol, now carries a sticker price around $85,000, almost double what it cost just a decade ago. That leap has not brought a surge in new buyers. Instead, younger shoppers look elsewhere, often linking Cadillac with retirement communities and fading prestige. Reliability remains a concern, with industry surveys ranking Cadillac below Toyota and Honda, even as prices rival BMW and Mercedes. The company's plan to phase out all gasoline engines by 2030 has only deepened the disconnect, leaving longtime customers uneasy about an all-electric future. Profits may still flow for now, but Cadillac's aging customer base and luxury pricing strategy have put the brand on a slow, risky path. The question is not just about price, it is about relevance in a changing world. Genesis arrived with the promise of redefining luxury, but the reality has been far more complicated. Despite offering vehicles that match German rivals in technology and comfort, the brand cannot shake its connection to Hyundai. Most Genesis models are sold out of shared showrooms, where premium sedans and SUVs sit just feet from entry-level convicts. For buyers willing to spend $70,000 on a G90, the experience feels anything but exclusive. Those perception consequences are real. In 2023, Genesis moved just 56,000 vehicles in the United States, a fraction of what established luxury brands deliver. The badge stigma hits hardest after the sale. 3 years in, a Genesis typically loses 50 to 60% of its value, the steepest drop in the luxury segment. Owners who paid top dollar for a JD or GV80 are often shocked at trade in time, with resale values trailing well behind Lexus and BMW. The products themselves earn strong reviews, but the lack of standalone dealerships and persistent doubts about long-term prestige keep Genesis from breaking through. The brand's struggle is not about engineering, it is about credibility. If Genesis can solve its distribution and perception issues, there is potential for a turnaround. Until then, even the best cars cannot outrun the weight of a badge. Alfa Romeo's US footprint has shrunk to just 130 dealerships, a stark reminder of how far the brand has fallen from its Italian sports car mystique. In 2023, only 6,355 new Alfa Romeos found buyers in America, a figure that would barely register for most mainstream brands. The real problem goes far beyond sales. Alfa Romeo sits dead last in J.D. Power reliability rankings, year after year. That reputation is not just a number, it is a drain on owners' wallets. Keeping a Giulia sedan on the road costs more than $3,000 a year in maintenance and repairs, compared to about $500 for a typical rival. Even basic service visits can spiral into expensive headaches, with parts delays and limited technician expertise compounding the frustration. For a brand that charges $48,000 and up for a base model, the ownership experience feels more like a gamble than a luxury. As the dealer network withers and service costs soar, Alfa Romeo's ability to justify premium pricing evaporates. What remains is a brand with a storied badge but little real-world appeal, especially when reliability is no longer just a rumor, it is a financial reality. The question is not just whether Alfa can compete, but whether it can even survive in a market where trust matters as much as style. Maserati once promised Italian passion wrapped in exclusivity, but today's reality is far less romantic. The price of entry sits anywhere from $85,000 to $180,000, yet beneath the sculpted bodywork, buyers find a surprising number of parts borrowed from Chrysler, shared window switches, infotainment systems, even transmissions. For those expecting hand-built craftsmanship, discovering mass-market components erodes the sense of owning something truly special. Depreciation hits hardest. The Quattroporte, Maserati's flagship sedan, can lose 70% of its value in just 4 years. A car that sold new for $140,000 often struggles to fetch $40,000 on the used market, even with low miles. Owners who thought they were buying a collectible find themselves holding a financial anchor. The fallout extends to the showroom floor. Since 2019, Maserati has lost 1 in 4 US dealers as franchises quietly exit, unwilling to take on slow-selling inventory and warranty headaches. Annual sales have collapsed from over 16,000 a decade ago to barely 6,000 in 2023. The brand's attempt to command exotic prices while delivering mainstream hardware has shattered its cachet. For drivers chasing Italian flair, the illusion fades quickly, especially when the next stop is the repair shop. Land Rover's reputation for rugged luxury has collided head-on with a reality that owners know all too well: chronic unreliability at a six-figure price. In 2023, the starting price for a new Range Rover climbed to $104,000, up from $83,000 just 4 years earlier, a 26% jump that outpaced nearly every rival. Yet this premium buys some of the industry's worst reliability scores, with Land Rover consistently ranked at or near the bottom by both Consumer Reports and J.D. Power. For many, the pain does not stop at the purchase. The average owner now spends over $1,100 a year on repairs, almost triple the industry average. Electrical gremlins, air suspension failures, and infotainment glitches fill online forums, while social media hashtags like #LandRoverLemon have racked up tens of thousands of posts from frustrated drivers. Dealers have been quietly coached to offer goodwill repairs just to keep repeat customers from abandoning the brand entirely. Despite these efforts, U.S. sales dropped 14% in 2023, as more buyers decided that prestige was not worth the risk or the repair bills. The disconnect between Land Rover's image and the ownership experience has never been wider, and for a brand built on adventure, the biggest challenge now is simply keeping its vehicles on the road. Volkswagen's reputation for engineering and value took a devastating blow in 2015, when the company admitted to installing software that cheated emissions tests in over 11 million diesel vehicles worldwide. The fallout was immediate and severe. By 2020, the cost of fines and settlements had soared past $35 billion, draining resources and shattering consumer trust. U.S. market share, once a stable 3.2%, slipped to just 1.8% by 2023, a decline that echoed across dealer networks and boardrooms alike. In the years since, Volkswagen has struggled to regain its footing. The company tried to pivot with new models and technology, but the shadow of Dieselgate lingers. The Atlas SUV, for example, carries a price tag close to $50,000, while its mechanical sibling, the Tiguan, starts at just $28,000. Buyers have questioned whether the premium is justified, especially as reliability rankings have slipped and the brand's value proposition becomes harder to defend. Volkswagen's push into electric vehicles was meant to signal a fresh start. Instead, the ID.4 electric SUV has been plagued by software glitches and multiple recalls. Internal documents reveal that post-Dieselgate morale never fully recovered among engineers, with some teams experiencing 30% turnover as they struggled to fix persistent issues. Over-the-air updates intended to solve problems often created new ones, leaving owners frustrated and dealers overwhelmed with complaints. The damage goes beyond lost sales or recall costs. For many, Volkswagen's brand still carries the weight of broken promises and inflated prices. Years after the scandal, trust remains fragile, and the company's ability to command premium pricing has yet to return. In a market where buyers are more skeptical than ever, Volkswagen's struggle serves as a cautionary tale about the long reach of a single, costly decision. Nissan's balance sheet tells a story of mounting pressure. Between 2023 and 2024, the company posted a $6.9 billion operating loss, the kind of figure that sends shockwaves through boardrooms and factory floors alike. The roots of the crisis run deep. Many core models, like the Frontier, Armada, and Titan, have not seen a full redesign in 8 to 15 years, leaving showrooms packed with vehicles that feel a generation behind. As rivals rolled out fresh technology and bold designs, Nissan's lineup stood still, losing its edge with buyers who expect more for their money. To prop up sales, Nissan leaned hard into subprime lending. By 2024, 40% of its U.S. customers came from high-risk credit tiers, a gamble that fueled short-term volume but left the company exposed to rising defaults. Internal assessments flagged this approach as unsustainable, with forecasts warning of mounting pre-losses if the strategy continued unchecked. But with aging products and little new to offer, there was no easy way out. Quality problems only added to the strain. Continuous variable transmission failures became a recurring complaint, straining warranty budgets and driving away repeat customers. In response, Nissan resorted to deep discounts, often $8,000 to $12,000 off sticker, just to keep inventory moving. Dealers found themselves offering incentives that erased any illusion of exclusivity or value. The brand's financial lifeline became tied to these discounts, but each deal chipped away at long-term profitability and trust. As Nissan's losses mounted and its dependence on risky loans grew, the company's ability to command premium prices evaporated. The once reliable formula of steady sales and modest margins gave way to a cycle of discounting and shrinking returns, setting the stage for growing tensions within its dealer network. The standoff between Stellantis and its dealer network exploded into the open in the summer of 2024. More than 3,000 U.S. dealers, frustrated by months of unsold inventory and relentless price hikes, signed a letter demanding immediate action from company leadership. The message was blunt: cut prices or risk a mass exodus from the franchise. On some lots, Jeeps priced at $80,000 and Ram trucks priced at $95,000 sat untouched for over 200 days, collecting dust while floor plan costs piled up. Behind the scenes, spreadsheets told an even starker story. Stellantis brands faced a 349-day supply of vehicles, nearly 6 times the industry's healthy average. Dealers warned that showrooms had turned into warehouses, with new shipments arriving faster than customers could be found. The situation left many retailers weighing whether to walk away from the business entirely. Tensions only grew as news broke that Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares took home $39 million in 2023, even while the company laid off 2,400 workers and profits slid. Dealers saw this as a symbol of misplaced priorities, fueling anger that boiled over in closed-door calls and public forums. Meanwhile, more than 1.5 million vehicles were recalled in 2024 for safety defects, adding another layer of risk for anyone holding unsold stock. As the months dragged on, the company's U.S. sales plunged by up to 20%. The dealer revolt forced Stellantis to reconsider its pricing strategy, but the damage was already done. Channel partners, once the backbone of the business, had begun to turn their backs, signaling a crisis that could not be solved by incentives or marketing alone. Tesla's approach to pricing has defied every industry norm. In 2019, the Model 3 launched at just $35,000, a figure that promised electric mobility for the masses and sent shockwaves through the market. In 2022, that same car carried a $55,000 sticker, a 57% jump that left early reservation holders stunned. By 2024, the price had swung back down to $38,990, less than it cost in 2021, but still far from the original pledge. These rapid, unpredictable changes have become a defining feature of Tesla's business model. For buyers, it means never knowing if today's deal is tomorrow's regret. Owners who paid top dollar during the surge found themselves underwater within months, with used values dropping as new discounts rolled out. The volatility is not just a numbers game, it has changed how customers view the brand. For years, Tesla was the gold standard for electric vehicles, with wait lists stretching for months and resale values holding strong. But as prices bounced, confidence wavered. Many buyers began to hesitate, worried that another round of cuts could wipe out their investment overnight. The sense of exclusivity that once fueled demand has faded, replaced by uncertainty and frustration. Quality issues have only amplified these concerns. Reports of panel gaps, mismatched paint, and loose trim have circulated since the earliest deliveries, but as production scaled up, complaints multiplied. Even at $50,000 or more, new owners routinely found themselves scheduling service appointments for rattles, touchscreen failures, or misaligned doors. The company's direct-to-consumer model, which once felt modern and efficient, has exposed another problem: a chronic shortage of service centers. In much of the country, the nearest repair facility is 100 miles away or more. Wait times for appointments stretch from 3 to 6 weeks, with parts delays and minimal loaner support, leaving cars sidelined for days or weeks. Tesla's mobile service fleet helps in some cases, But for complex repairs, owners are left in limbo. These growing pains have real consequences. Tesla's sales growth, once the envy of the industry, slowed by 30% between 2023 and 2024. New competitors, BYD, Hyundai, and legacy automakers are now matching or beating Tesla on price, quality, and technology. Meanwhile, the company's erratic pricing has started to erode the loyalty of its core customers. For a brand that built its reputation on disruption, the challenge now is credibility. Profitable quarters and global name recognition cannot mask the reality that trust, once lost, is hard to win back. Tesla's next moves will determine whether it can regain its footing or if price whiplash becomes the lasting legacy. Ford's electric gamble has turned into a financial black hole. In 2023, the company reported a $4.7 billion loss on its electric vehicle division alone, a staggering figure for a manufacturer that once set the standard for American trucks. The F-150 Lightning, launched with fanfare and priced between $70,000 and $95,000, was supposed to bring the best-selling pickup into the future. Instead, dealer lots have filled with unsold Lightnings, some sitting for more than 100 days as buyers balk at the price and question the value. The numbers tell the story. Ford's average transaction price jumped from $42,000 in 2019 to $61,000 by 2023, a 45% increase that far outpaced wage growth or inflation. For many longtime customers, sticker shock was immediate. The Lightning's promise of cutting-edge technology and green credentials could not overcome concerns about range, charging infrastructure, and reliability. Early owners reported problems with battery supply, software glitches, and unexpected repairs, issues that undermined confidence just as the company needed it most. Faced with a glut of unsold trucks, Ford turned to heavy incentives. By summer 2024, discounts of $10,000 or more became common, with some dealers holding more than 2,000 unsold units at a time. These price cuts, meant to clear inventory, only fueled doubts about long-term value and resale prospects. Meanwhile, the company's internal forecasts had counted on much higher demand, leading to production schedules that quickly outstripped real-world interest. Dealers, once eager to showcase the Lightning, started refusing additional shipments, worried about floor plan costs and the risk of vehicles aging on the lot. The oversupply was not limited to electric trucks. Ford's entire lineup felt the pressure as transaction prices soared and consumer patience wore thin. Reliability issues, already a sore spot for models like the Explorer, became harder to ignore as warranty claims and customer complaints stacked up. Ford's bet on electrification was bold, but the market's response has been unforgiving. The company now faces a difficult choice: maintain high prices and risk further losses, or slash them and erode profitability even more. With a 100-day supply of unsold vehicles and billions already lost, the path forward is anything but clear. For a brand built on blue-collar trust and mass appeal, the cost of misreading the market has never been higher. General Motors poured $35 billion into its electric vehicle strategy, promising a revolution that would reshape the American auto industry. The company set an ambitious target: 400,000 electric vehicles sold by 2025, powered by its new Ultium battery platform and a wave of high-profile launches. But by mid-2025, the reality looked nothing like the projections. Only 76,000 electric vehicles had found buyers, a fraction of what was promised to investors, dealers, and the public. The most striking example of General Motors' pricing gamble sits on dealer lots across the country, the Silverado EV. With a starting price of $96,000, it costs nearly 3 times as much as the gas-powered Silverado, which begins around $36,000. That 167% premium left even loyal truck buyers questioning the value. While the gas model remains a staple of farms, fleets, and family driveways, the electric version has struggled to attract interest beyond early adopters and corporate fleets. Rows of unsold Silverado EVs, some fenced off behind dealerships, have become a quiet symbol of the disconnect between General Motors' pricing strategy and what the market will actually bear. The Bolt, once General Motors' only affordable electric car and a rare bright spot, was discontinued in May 2023. Internal emails later revealed that the Bolt generated a profit of about $10,000 per unit, an impressive figure in a segment notorious for losses. Engineers and dealers protested the decision, warning that killing the Bolt would leave General Motors with no entry-level electric vehicle at a time when buyers were demanding affordable options. Over 50,000 owners signed petitions urging the company to reconsider, but leadership doubled down on the Ultium platform, betting everything on high-margin, high-priced electric trucks and sport utility vehicles. The Ultium rollout itself has been plagued by delays and technical problems. Software bugs, battery recalls, and supplier disputes set back production schedules by months. As the issues mounted, General Motors' reliability ranking plummeted to 30th out of 32 major brands in J.D. Power's 2024 survey, well below rivals like Toyota, Honda, or even Ford. Dealers, once eager to champion the new technology, found themselves fielding calls from frustrated customers waiting for repairs or software updates. The promise of a seamless electric future gave way to a patchwork of workarounds and apologies. The financial consequences have been severe. The company's $35 billion investment in electric vehicles has yet to deliver the volume or profits needed to justify the outlay. Meanwhile, the 2023 United Auto Workers strike cost General Motors an additional $3.5 billion as negotiations over pay, benefits, and job security dragged on for weeks. The strike exposed deep tensions between leadership and the workforce, with headlines focusing on the growing gap between chief executive compensation and factory wages. Market share has eroded steadily. At the turn of the millennium, General Motors controlled more than 28% of the U.S. auto market. By 2025, that figure stands at just 16.3%, a loss of nearly half its former dominance. The company's only successful mass-market electric vehicle, the Bolt, is gone. The new electric trucks and sport utility vehicles, priced for a luxury crowd, sit unsold as competitors like Tesla, Hyundai, and BYD deliver more affordable, reliable options. The story of General Motors' electric vehicle disaster is a case study in misreading the market. Billions spent, but the products and prices failed to match what buyers actually wanted. The financial risks are now impossible to ignore. Dealers refuse shipments, inventory piles up, and the company faces an impossible choice: keep prices high and watch sales stall, or cut prices and sacrifice already thin margins. For General Motors, the era of overpricing has ended not with a bang, but with a reckoning measured in empty lots, missed targets, and billions lost. Across all 15 brands, one pattern stands out. When automakers chase ever higher prices while cutting corners, buyers eventually walk away. Billions in losses and unsold inventory prove that consumer trust cannot be bought back overnight. The industry now faces a reckoning, and it must adapt to real value or risk irrelevance. The road ahead belongs to those who remember who they are building for. Which brand's downfall surprised you most? Let us know in the comments below.